Hello, I am Moodida, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Today I'm going to share the different ways I like to manipulate conveyor lifts in this game. Probably the most popular way to cheat this system is the infinite height lift. So normally a lift can only go about 48 meters. And that right there would be its max. However, if the lift ends in a floor hole, so it doesn't need to start in one, but it does need to end in one, I can actually go as far as I have materials. Now, me being in creative mode means I don't have to worry. But that is your only limitation. You could build one from the lowest point possible in the map to the very highest point possible, all in one single lift, as long as you have enough materials to do so, and it's ending in a floor hole. So if you started at the top, you could go down to the bottom, as long as the bottom has the floor hole, or vice versa like this. Next up is what I affectionately call Old Stubby. Normally, lifts have a minimum height of 4 meters. However, you can make it as short as 2 meters. So this is something I like to blueprint, and the reason why you see 2 of each is they're both in the different directions. So this one has it coming out, whereas this one has it going in. Let me show you how to make these. All you need is some conveyor poles. The distance that you need is 3 meters, and each one of these squares is 1 meter. So if I go out 3 and I bring this up 1, I can now grab a lift and I can connect it to either one, and I should, well, in theory, be able to connect to either of the other ones. So as you can see, it's super finicky. Like if I connect it to this one, it'll only let me connect backwards. I haven't really found a use for this one, so I've never saved it, but if you want to, you could. I imagine some decorational pieces, you could use this to some fun effect. But I can connect it from here, and if I spin it around, now it'll connect. Now I just have to decide which way I want this. And because I'm unimaginative, I just call these Stubby 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for all the different orientations and directions. So if you wanted to make one that wasn't straight, you're going to do the same thing where it's going to be 3 meters. So if I go 2 this way and 1 this way, I should be able to, well, now it'll snap to the opposite direction. So like I said, kind of finicky, but now if I snap to here, you'll notice that's not lined up. So this is where it can definitely get a little bit tricky. So there's definitely times where I'll just have to replace it more than once just to get it to snap in the direction that I want. I have no idea why it snapped this time. It's placed in the exact same way, whereas last time it would snap going the other direction. And this is why I like to blueprint them. It can be very finicky getting it to face the right direction that you want, and you just kind of have to delete it and replace it. To give you a quick example of what I like to use these stubby lifts for, is say I have a belt bus and I have, 3 or more belts running along here, but it's actually the middle one that I want to branch off to something. So what I can do is I can just delete that one. I can grab the correct lift, so if I wanted to branch this off to the right, I can place this wherever is appropriate. Say we'll go right here. And now I can connect it to here. And now I've got it to where it's only 1 notch above the other lift. So instead of having to go so much higher just to go over and then back down, I could use one of these. And if I wanted to go right back down, so I usually just hit E until I find the correct one that I'm looking for. So if it was something like that, I could place that one there. And there I go. And I use these in my factories a lot to be able to utilize the space battery. Alright, but what if you have more than 1 layer? Now obviously if you had a whole bunch of layers and you're trying to get one of the very center belts, you're going to have to get creative. But if you just need to take off one of the top belts and say go the opposite direction with the very left one, what I like to do is just use a temporary foundation. So we'll just branch it off in about the same spot. So I would just go ahead and clip a foundation through there just to get this out of the way. Delete this belt. Grab old Stubby. Put it in place. And now I can reconnect my belt. And I can go off on my way, or if I was going to use just a regular one now, it's really easy because I can just use it at its normal height. And now I've branched this off and put it down to ground level really easily. And now I just need to delete my temporary foundations, and there you go. I just find these incredibly useful. Okay, so two other quick examples of how to use the short lifts. Say you wanted to get something into that height. I'm going to take my conveyor pole and I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3 meters. Place that at the bottom. And now if I connect it to here, and then the machine with it facing the right direction, it'll snap right in. Now this will give you a nice flush look right here. The other thing that you can do is have it 1 meter farther, and it's still going to snap, but now you have the accordion here and here. So it just depends on the look and the distance that you're trying to get. You can even go the opposite direction, and you can even start to clip it further inside the splitter. However, for me, I personally am not a big fan. I believe you can even go even farther, and as long as it snaps, so you'll notice it definitely changes height, that is still connected. So I personally not really a fan. You can also get this look, just another way to kind of manipulate lifts and whatnot. You can place mergers or splitters directly onto a lift. So same as the other example, I just don't really care for this look. So I rarely use it, but it's definitely an option. Same principle applies for coming in or out of a machine. So the distance away from it really kind of just dictates how much you're going to clip into it. So I usually go for the 3 meter because that'll give you that nice flush look. The accordion doesn't pop out the other end. But every once in a while the spacing just works out better for me to go the full 4 because of where I want things to go. The same can also be done with floor holes. Normally I would place this floor hole here, and obviously you're going to get it right where that is. But they can go much closer as well, so if we wanted to, we could clip that into the machine. And that's going to work just fine. And then you can even go one farther than that. So as you can see in here, it'll click, so that is connecting to the machine. Now for this, you get the accordion sticking out. So for a machine like the assembler, I personally really don't like this look. But with something like a constructor, you can still clip it halfway into the machine, and then it's still going to connect to it. You don't see the accordion. So if you're looking to make some extremely compact designs with some underfloor logistics, this is probably the best way to do it, and you'll take up the least amount of space. I haven't found a way that I want to use this, but I believe using these tricks together, you can actually, if we snap this right into it there, we can create some incredibly compact towers of splitters and mergers. So if we spin it, it will snap in right there. And we can go ahead and hopefully delete that just in case. And then let's take a merger. And you'll see I can't rotate it because it is snapping to the lift. So that right there is incredibly compact. And I imagine this would be something better off blueprinted so that you didn't have to try to finagle with it every time. Lifts are just so incredible and open up just so many different possibilities. There are so many different ways to use them, and I'm sure I've forgotten some crucial ones. If there's any ways that you really like to use lifts that aren't super obvious, please leave them in the comments. I have a couple more ideas for these tips and tricks videos, but if you have any suggestions, I am all ears. So look forward to that, and thanks for watching.